Sorry about that. I'm going to start recording, so we'll start that again just in case anybody missed this, so we can send this to any registrants that may want to have a copy of this recording. So we will be recording this. Essentially, MRR is one of the most important metrics of a recurring subscription business. It provides insight into your revenue trend for your business by recognizing all of your recurring transactions on a monthly basis. So simply put, MRR is the staple analytic for any recurring revenue model, even Chargify. As a customer signs up, upgrades, reactivates, your MRR goes up. As a customer downgrades or churns, your MRR goes down. It's really easy to access these MRR analytics inside your account. So while you're logged in, you're going to have access to these MRR reports in each of your sites by visiting the Green Analytics tab. We're going to select MRR on the top left, and there you have your analytics. So let's begin by breaking down each of these reports and exactly what these mean. As you can tell from this display, there are 5 different colors in the bar graph. Each of these colors correlate to a different type of MRR movement. The green bar that we see represents new business MRR, which are new paying accounts. This might be someone signing up for a new paid service or a trialing user switching to a paid account. As a side note, if you have a customer in a trial ended state and reactivate them, this will show as new business MRR as well. The purple bar is expansion MRR. If you offer a service in which your customers can upgrade their subscription, add on additional items, this will report any growth in these services and/or products. The yellow bar is your contraction. This can be a decrease in recurring revenue or a downgrade to a less expensive product or plan. Now let's take a look at our red bar. This is churn MRR. These can be cancellations or, if applicable to your service, downgrades to a free plan as well. Lastly, we have our reactivation MRR, which is represented by a blue graph. These movements are previously churned customers that reactivate their plan. Let's take a deeper dive into a particular month. We can view details of a particular month by hovering over the bar graph. Now we can see a complete breakdown of our MRR movements events in the entire month. Each description includes a detail with a movement amount, type, and a date that it took place. I can even click into the subscription if I want to take a deeper look into that particular line item. I can also filter these events as well. So, for example, if I wanted to filter all of these by my recent churn, I can filter that and see all my recent churn events. In addition to the graphical view of data, we can also see this represented in units as well. We will see each month MRR type, dollar movement, the number of events that occurred in each month, and at the bottom of each month, we'll get a reading of the net MRR growth. We can also see it in a bar graph format if we scroll down just a bit further. This is also where you would see your period and MRR. You can see the growth rate displayed as a percentage for any month, and the graph is a total representation of your 5 MRR types, reflecting all current revenue movement. However, MRR is not cash received. On our left, we have a snapshot of our total MRR growth, and on the right, we have a dashboard view that all of you are familiar with, which shows our revenue collected this month so far. It's clear that net MRR is close to this number. However, the values will almost never be the same. We'll get into why in just a few minutes. Finance departments would most likely be interested in our new sales report feature, which we'll be releasing in the first quarter of this year. This report includes sales, discounts, adjustments, and total revenue on a cash or accrual basis, broken down by product and add-ons. Another great feature of the MRR Analytics offers is a daily MRR summary email. Once enabled, the daily email is sent to your email address you use to log in. It includes MRR metrics for the previous day, the current week to date, Monday through Sunday, and the current month to date, which is always the first through the end of the month. You can easily recognize large movements in any category and then dig into the details by accessing the MRR reports in the user interface. There's no need to hit refresh 50 times a day to see your MRR updates. The email snapshot is incredibly easy to enable. Simply select your MRR settings at the top right of your analytics dashboard, enable the settings, and add any additional emails you'd like to be included as well. Let's talk now a little bit about how MRR is calculated. Everyone has a unique business model, so it's important to address all scenarios. In addition to normal growth and contraction, there are other things that we have to take in consideration as well. Product cost, quantity-based components, and on-off components are included in the MRR because they are recurring. However, one-time payments and meter charges are excluded. Setup fees and trial charges are excluded as well, along with taxes. Taxes are not considered MRR because it does not fall under reported revenue. Discounts, coupons are deducted prior to calculation. For example, a new subscriber signs up for $100 a month using a 20% off 3-month coupon. This would reflect as $80 in MRR for the first 3 months. After the coupon is used completely, MRR for that customer would be $100 a month, which is also $20 in expansion MRR. Let's talk a little bit about adjustments. Adjustments are excluded in the MRR analytics as well, but occasionally you may have to add a temporary service credits for individual subscribers, for example. You could have a subscriber that is $100 a month, and maybe they had a bad experience, so we're going to give them $20 off their next bill as a goodwill gesture. We would maintain an MRR of $100 for this subscriber. Even though you only collected $80 this month from this subscriber, they are still valued at $100 a month. However, if a customer receives a credit that's larger than their balance, it will impact their MRR as contraction. So the lesson here is a partial service credit does not affect MRR, whereas long-term credits do. Just as one-time adjustments are not included, one-time charges are not considered MRR because they are not recurring and can't be used to measure predictable revenue. It's important to note that monthly plans are essentially the MRR value. However, non-monthly plans will be taken into account on a monthly basis. For example, if we're looking at a $120 a year subscription, this will have an MRR value of $10 a month. MRR is the total amount charged, recognized over a month's worth of service. Let's take a look at a few examples of and what the MRR values are. A subscriber on a $10 a month base plan with 10 $1 widgets, which is a quantity-based component, has an MRR value of $20. This one is simple because we all know quantity-based components recur unless a change is made by either you or your subscriber. This is revenue we can predict. Let's look at another example. A subscriber has a $10 a month base plan who used $20 worth of metered minutes in 1 month. This is an MRR value of $10. Metered components are not predictable. These charges are variable on any given period, and there is not a way to assume future charges, and that's why it's omitted. A subscriber on a $10 a month base plan with a $50 setup fee and a one-time charge for an installation of $100 has an MRR value of $10. Because the setup fee and the one-time charges are both non-recurring, this will not be included in the monthly recurring revenue. For more information on how MRR is calculated, some more use case examples, and more, please reference our documentation. This link will be provided at the end for everyone via an email at the end of the demonstration, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Chargify is always changing and adding improvements to existing and new features. So let's talk a little bit about some planned improvements that are coming soon. Because we don't include meter usage in MRR reports, we will be adding a usage report. This is so that you can see usage revenue billed over a month. We also plan on adding configuration of metered components to give you an option of including meter charges in MRR. I don't yet have an ETA or future details on these improvements, but you can expect improvements around how components are handled in the very near future. All right, for now, I'd like to open the floor to any questions at this time. As I mentioned at the beginning of the demonstration, there are a few technical reps online, and they're also waiting to answer any questions or concerns that you have. I see some coming in right now, so let's take a look at these and see what some people have to say. Okay, here's a good question. To confirm, if an existing customer upgrades from one product, a subscription plan, to a more expensive product, is that recorded as expansion MRR? That's exactly right. You got it. So if a customer, let's say you have a product that's $10 a month and they upgrade to $20 a month, that would definitely reflect as $10 MRR expansion for that particular user. We will be recording this. I did start at the beginning of the demonstration by recording it. So if you'd like a copy of this recording, there will be a follow-up email that you can reply to. So just simply respond to that and we'll get you a copy. That's a great question. So how does new account going unpaid versus past due handled regarding churn? So right now, these reports don't have anything to do with churn, but keep an eye out. We do have some reports coming for churn very soon. So that'll give you some more information on when a customer goes unpaid and past due subsequently, how often are they in the dunning process, when are they going to be reactivated. So not yet, but we definitely will have that feature very shortly for you. Do you have any analytics for non-recurring revenue? That's a great question as well. So we do have some reports coming very soon called sales reports, sales receipts. So we do have those. We have a blog right now. If you go to chargify.com/blog, we have a feature set where you can actually go in and read more about the sales report feature, and that'll be launching very shortly. So if you happen to be in finance, for example, and you need to look at things like coupons, applied discounts, that sort of thing, then you most likely be using our sales report feature. What happens if someone is charged a recurring charge and that charge fails? Is that included in MRR or removed? So MRR reports are only calculated in real transactions. If a customer does not have a successful charge go through, then it will not be considered in that MRR report. Of course, if they come back to you a month later, for example, and they have a canceled subscription, and we reactivate their subscription, then we're going to go ahead and record that as reactivation MRR at that point. Another great question, are reports able to be downloaded into an Excel file? Right now, unfortunately, you can't export these into a CSV file like our subscriptions and transaction tab allows you. That's definitely on the list. So I should have included that in my coming soon part, but we'll definitely be looking to add that. I'm not sure if we're going to be adding that sooner rather than later, but that is definitely something that a lot of our customers are going to be asking for. So a lot of people are asking where to find the MRR report. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of the examples I showed at the beginning, where to access these MRR tabs. Just give me 1 second. All right, so here's how you access your MRR reports. We're going to access the site first, select the site we want to see the reports for. There will be a green Analytics tab on the top right. And then you can select MRR on the top left. This is also where our sales receipts feature will belong as well. Sure. Let's look at some of the more drill downs. Let's just replay some of these videos so that those who missed it in the very beginning can see these reports. 1 second. So here's an example of a complete breakdown of a particular month. If we just click it, we can see all of the MRR movement for that particular month. If you want to click one of those line items, we can go into the subscription related to that particular MRR movement event. That's actually a really good question. We often have subscribers get canceled after unsuccessful dunning, then reactivate 2 days later. How is this handled? Is it churn or reactivation? So they will initially be recorded as the churn, but when you go back there and reactivate their subscription, so they'll go in the canceled state, they'll be recorded as churn. Once you go back in there, manually reactivate them and charge them, that would be reactivation MRR. We do short-term subscriptions, 3, 6 month. When a subscription ends, does that show us churn? Yes, that will show us churn. Yes, it does. This analytic does include churn. So let me show you an overall view of that MRR report so that we can get a look at that real quickly. So when we're looking at our red line, that is particularly churn. And this would be where you would look at your churn metrics. And I'm seeing the compliments too. Thank you guys. Really appreciate the kind words. So there's no real view to, somebody asked if there was a way to see unaffected merchants that are not having any MRR movement in a particular month. And unfortunately, there's no way to track that in these specific reports. But you can always drill down into a customer's subscription by clicking on their activities log to just see what's going on with the subscription. So if you want to drill down in a particular subscriber, you absolutely can. But this is specifically for tracking MRR movements. This won't display any of those users outside of those rules. So period and MRR is a little bit different from what we're seeing on the graph right now because it's combining all of these 5 different movement types. So we're not just looking at the churn, we're not just looking at reactivation, we're not just looking at the new business MRR. We're looking at all of these factors and we're seeing, okay, how does this affect our total MRR? And that would be our period MRR. Let me show you another example of looking at and taking a deeper dive into those analytics. So here we have our total MRR, which is our period at MRR. If you look at these line items, these little graph bars going up and down, this is going to be our percentage of change. So at the very beginning, this was at the very beginning of our creation of this account. We've got a lot of movement, a lot of changes because changes are being made at the very beginning. So if we hover over those bars, we can see that change. And if we view the details of a particular month, we can see all movement related to that MRR in that month that we're looking at. Sure, I can give another explanation of why metered charges aren't included in the report. So traditionally, when we talk about MRR, that is monthly recurring revenue. There's no way for us to predict what a subscriber is going to use on the next month. So metered usage traditionally is some type of variable usage that our customers are using on a month-to-month basis. It can be 0, it can be 100, it could be 1,000. There's essentially an open-ended question when we're using the metered components. This is not traditionally looked at as monthly recurring revenue because those changes are not recurring. We have a recurring schedule to charge that customer based off of their usage, but it's not a recurring charge. It changes. But we have on the offhand, the other hand, we have our quantity-based components. The difference between the two is that the quantity-based components do not change unless otherwise intervened by you or your subscriber if they have that option. So at the end of the day, it's really about what what can we expect, what can we project, and that's the numbers that we are going to be using. Traditionally, when somebody's looking at usage reports, one-time charges, things of that nature, we're looking at a finance report rather than a tool that's measuring the success of our business based off of what is coming back, what's going away, and what's steady. Great questions, everyone. Thanks for being patient about having us answer these. There are a lot of questions, understandably so. It's analytics. It's not necessarily the simplest thing to grasp. Even for me, I'm still learning this. So it looks like the questions are slowing a little bit. So if you have another commitment that you need to jump off for, feel free. Like I said, there will be a follow-up email sent out to everybody. So if you would like a recording of this demonstration, please feel free to email us back and we'll get that to you. But that is generally the webinar in a nutshell. So everybody, I hope you had a great understanding based off of what was presented today. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to stay on the line and continue to ask those in the chat. We still have our technical representatives on the line so they can still answer those questions you have. But thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, wherever you might be. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate those kind words. Okay, great. It looks like for the most part, everyone has their questions answered. If we've missed any of your questions or we didn't fully explain something that you want to understand a little bit more, feel free to contact our support team. You can always email us, support@chargify.com. We'll get you connected to a support representative. So if you want to answer or elaborate on some questions that didn't quite make sense, please feel free to write us in. Again, just to reiterate, you can also reply to those emails that we're going to send out as well. So if you have any questions, if you want a recording of the webinar, or if you just want to give us a pat on the back, we love that too. Feel free to write into us, and we'd be more than happy to respond and have a discussion with you. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday.